Because knowing yourself isn't just another buzzword. Knowing yourself is the first step toward becoming the empowered individual you know you can be. Your healing comes through your willingness to feel and explore, and to look back, not with eyes of victimhood and blame, but with eyes intent on understanding. Are you ready to journey inward? I'm your host, Shauna Gulbrand. This is Know Yourself. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. And know yourself by being yourself. I'm not going to cut that. I'm going to leave that there. This is take 2. And I'm finding I'm getting irritated because I'm trying to be perfect. It is not about being perfect. It is about being authentically me, and it is about being. Life is about being. Being. Notice how I'm saying being authentically you. Thank you for tuning in and listening or watching. My name is Shauna Gulbrand, and I appreciate you. And I am grateful that you are taking some of your time to listen in or to watch this video. And today I would like to talk about 2 ideas. The first one being trust where you are led, and the second one being sometimes, how am I going to nutshell this? We are moved towards, let me try that again. The second concept or idea that I want to talk about today is the idea of recognizing what it is or what you don't prefer in order for you to understand what it is that you do prefer. So these are the 2 ideas that I want to talk about today. Along with that is the Spirit Animal Oracle that I will draw a card from in a few minutes. For those of you who are listening, I will do my absolute best to describe the card and to share the meaning or the message around the card. All right, so first idea, trust where you are led. I have, for the past 2 days, felt a calling, felt drawn to share this message through my own experience and to bring it to you because perhaps you are someone that can relate to this, or what I'm about to say resonates with something that's going on in your life now. Trust where you are led. That is a message that I have been receiving personally for the past few weeks. And there are some things going on in my life, good things, they're not bad things, that really don't make any sense to me. That it was not something that was on my radar, not something that I had planned to do. And it feels like, or initially felt like, it was going against my own personal grain of course, stories of who I think I should be, who I think I ought to be, what I think I should be doing or ought to be doing. Now, if you've listened to me in the past, you know that I talk about those stories and the swirling maze of our mind, right? Thought identity, mind identity, that keeps us trapped in these stories of I am not and I should be. So that's what I was experiencing at the start of this doesn't make any sense. This isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. And then, of course, the idea of people are going to judge me for this. So that's just one part of it. The idea of trusting where you are led, trusting where I am led. And the word trust really sticks out here because when we actually move in the direction of something that is presented itself to us, there is something on the other side of it. I don't want to say the end of it, but there is something on the other side of it. And again, even though it may not make sense, not something that you planned, it's important to follow through, to move in the direction of, however you want to describe it, to allow it to unfold, because we don't know where it's going to lead. And perhaps those things that make no sense whatsoever, that were not in our radar, lead to something magnificent on our journey. But the only way we're going to know is to move in the direction where we're being led, and to trust that it will be for our highest good, even if it continues to evolve, or even if it comes to a screeching halt. There is a reason for it. There's a reason that it's in my life. There's a reason that it's in your life. So that's the first idea that I wanted to share with you today. This message of trust where you are led. The signs are all around you all the time. It's that idea of tuning in, excuse me, and paying attention, and then following the arrows, following the signposts. All the while, and this just came up for me, is tuning in, knowing yourself, being with the thoughts that you're thinking about it, the feelings that you're having around it. Now, I don't want to get into the details of what is happening in my life personally, but let me just share this. And I have the barrage, or the flock of turkeys. If you could see where I'm looking out a door into my neighbor's yard. Well, my fence is right there. And the parade of turkeys, wild turkeys, has just begun, and there's about 30 of them. And they're just slowly walking by. Okay, coming back. Let's just take in a little wild turkey medicine, right? That's for all of us right now. Okay. When this new thing came into my life, and the message of trust where I'm being led kept appearing, I did my inner work. I actually continue to do my inner work because I'm still in it, and I'm still trusting where it's leading me. But at the same time, my inner work gives me the opportunity to acknowledge, recognize, be curious about, and engage with the beliefs, the thoughts that are coming up in my mind. And some of those have been about how other people might judge me. Some of those thoughts are around, I'm this person, and this is what I do, and this thing that's happening right now is way outside what I'm perceiving to be, professional. So I just got really present every moment that I could, every opportunity that emerged, to be clear about the beliefs that I'm holding on to. Before I go that way, let me just talk about now the feelings. So there are the thoughts, the beliefs, but there are also the feelings and the sensations associated with this. And for me personally, my experience of what's happening right now, it's exciting. These are the words that come to mind. Exciting, fun, adventurous, new, fresh. These feelings are driving me forward. These feelings of excitement, something that I'm finding passion in, are helping me to trust where I'm being led. The thoughts are what is holding me back what is not allowing me to move deeper into the trust, because they are beliefs based in fear, negativity, lack, and limitation. So this is kind of like a duel, like a tag team. And it all revolves around me knowing myself more deeply. These are my practices. This is what I do. This is how I live my life, is continuously, not continuously. Sometimes words come out of my mouth before I'm actually thinking. I got to slow down. Throughout my day, throughout my everyday, I am in an active practice of introspection, of tuning in to my inner landscape, whether that is in my feeling body in the way of physical sensations, feelings, emotions, but it is also tuning in to the attic of my mind. And that is where I find the stories that I spin, we all do, that I spin about life, about myself, and about life. These are the stories, the beliefs that are based in fear and negativity that tell me it's not professional enough. I'm going to be judged. I'm not good enough, really, because when we boil it all down, when we weed all through it and peel back all the layers, it always comes back to this idea of not being good enough, that sense of unworthiness. So that's what I've been doing. Now, the second idea that I wanted to weave into this, in the trusting where you're being led, or where I'm being led, is the idea that experiences, I can create an experience, right? Because we're all creating our lives. We're co-creating everything in our lives. I can create an experience of something I don't prefer. And that gives me the opportunity to be very clear about what it is I do prefer. So let me give you an example here. And I completely forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. No one better call me. This past summer, I was led, trust where I'm led, I was led to read I read a whole bunch of books, but there were two specific books that reintroduced me to the idea of the patriarchy. It was very powerful for me. I don't want to go too much into the experience of this, but I dove in and I grabbed it with both hands, and I wanted to know more. I wanted to research more. How do I want to put this? I wanted to heal my wounds. I wanted to help other women heal their wounds. I wanted to put an end to the patriarchy. The more I read, the more I researched, the more, I don't know if I want to say irritated I got, but maybe angry at what has been going on for thousands of years, and then feeling that rising up to want to do something about it. Now, I know that I have a tendency, which I'm choosing, because once you say you have a tendency, you are consciously choosing. I have a tendency of taking material like that and wanting to shout it from the rooftops. Now, just to interrupt, there is literally a wild turkey coming to my door. It's right there. Hello, Mr. Turkey. See you later. I have this tendency to take what I'm learning, wanting to shout it from the rooftops, wanting to share it with as many people as I can, wanting to get people on board. And I noticed that was happening. Now, I'm not saying this is right or wrong, good or bad. It's simply what was happening. Learned some things about the matriarchies and how I don't want to get into details of it, right? Because the details of this don't matter. Let me come back. I began to be in moments of creation, wanting to write, wanting to share, wanting to create something that was going to bring to light how the patriarchies need to end. We need to dissolve them. We need to, move back to the feminine. Interestingly enough, earlier I was in meditation, and at the end of my meditation, I drew a tarot card, and I drew the Lover's card, which is what I've been talking about. That Lover's card, for me personally, symbolizes the masculine and the feminine, the balance between masculine and feminine, the balance between the patriarchy and the matriarchy. So I just was so grateful because I knew I wanted to bring this message today, and drawing that card was validation. It was like, yes, the universe said, do it, go for it. Someone needs to hear this message. Okay, coming back. I found that I wanted to help women heal their patriarchy wounds. I wanted to heal my own. Now, in all of that, I began to recognize where the patriarchy showed up in my life personally. And most of it was through my family lineage. And this idea of who I'm supposed to be because I'm a woman, who I'm supposed to be because I'm a mother, who I'm supposed to be because I'm a wife. None of that ever fit for me. So it was kind of like this dawning of, oh, now I get it. Now I want to do something about it. Now I want to bring it out here, and I want to stand up. And there's nothing wrong with standing up for women and helping empower women. But here's what happened. I got to the point where I needed to stop. I needed to take a step back. Now, I trusted, looking back in retrospect, I trusted where those books were leading me. And I went with it and immersed myself in study or research, knowledge. But something felt off. Something wasn't quite right. So I put a halt to everything, and I took a step back, and I began to look at what I was doing and how I wanted to move forward, because the way I was doing it wasn't feeling right. I realized that what I was trying to create was being created from a place of victimhood, the injustices against women. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, right? So I really want to drive that point home, that there's no right or wrong in any of this. It's simply what I'm discovering in my internal landscape and how I want to move forward. As I went deeper into what's happening here, why have I come to a full halt? I also began to realize that I was in the energy of separation. Now, that's not a place I want to be in anymore. And that is something that I'm actively working on, moving from the idea of separation to the idea of unity. And it's beginning in my personal life, and that's where it needs to begin for me before I can take it out into the world. Now, all you have to do is turn on the news or look outside of your home. Maybe you have separation in your home, but regardless of all that, all you have to do is take a look around the world. And you can see, you can feel the level of separation and how that continues to be promoted. I realized that I didn't want to take part in that, moving forward the way I was moving forward in this idea of victimhood and separation. For me now, it is about unity. It is about the coming together, remembering that we are all, every single human being on this planet is part of a greater whole. That is the unity. And to understand, and I haven't gotten to this point yet, and maybe I will, maybe I won't, how I do want to move forward with the idea of oneness, empowerment, and unity. So the whole reason I'm sharing this with you is because I trusted where I was led, going down this path of learning what I can or what I did about the patriarchy and how it has affected countless lives, including my own personal one. And when I trusted, I got to a certain point and I realized that what I was doing and where I was going and the avenue or the path that I was taking, the energy that I was in, was not my preference. So I trusted, I went there, and that experience helped me to understand what it is I do prefer. You see how that works? Do you have an experience going on in your life right now that is not what you prefer? Maybe it's there to help you see what you do prefer. And the beauty is we have choice. Our greatest gift is our greatest power is our power to choose. So backing up just a little bit. Are you being led somewhere? Now try to look at it from a neutral point. Are you being led towards something? Are you being led in a certain direction? And can you trust that? Can you trust that you will discover something about yourself on the other end? And what is it you prefer in your life? Again, is there an experience that you're having right now that is not your preference? And then asking yourself, what is it you do prefer? Now, there's a whole nother level of this when it comes to acceptance of what is, and I'm not going to talk about that. It's not for this recording. So today I wanted to bring these messages of trust where you are led and recognizing the experiences of what you don't prefer as probability or possibility of being aware of what it is you do prefer. I trusted where I was being led with the books, the research, the red light synchronicity. That's what I like to call them. It was a hard stop. Don't go any further. Time to tune in. Oh, and in practices of introspection, reflection, inner work, know yourself. I realized that's not the way. That's not my preference to move forward that way. That is not the energy that I prefer to be in when I'm in creation, or the messages that I want to bring going forward. But my preference is unity. Now I have something to work with, something that feels better. And that's what I choose to be in as I move forward, if I decide to move forward with this idea of the patriarchal system and the feminine rising and the idea of goddess, which is still very exciting to me. See how my face just lit up? Okay, so let's get to the card. All right. Spirit Animal Oracle. Love, love, love the animals. Let's see what message we have for today. I think I drew this one for my last video I did, my last recording. Bat Spirit. Let me put that up to the camera so you can see that. It's a cute little bat hanging upside down. This is a beautiful deck, by the way. For any of you who love animals and love oracle cards, this deck is from Colette Baron Reed, and it's called the Spirit Animal Oracle. Bat brings us the message of a rebirth is assured. So it goes right in line, it's completely in line or aligned with the messages that I brought today. Sometimes we have to stop, pause, rest, practice introspection. A bat hangs upside down. So this is about looking at what's going on from a new perspective, taking the time to look at what's happening. And that's exactly what I just explained to all of you. That's what I did. But the key here is to be aware of what's going on in your aura, what's going on with your energy, what's going on in your internal landscape. Taking that time to stop, to pause, to reassess, to reevaluate, to be clear. And that's what BAT is asking all of us to do. Because on the other side of that is the rebirth. And that's what's happening. It's happening for me personally, and maybe you are really relating to this right now. That when we take the time to know ourselves at the deepest possible level we can, when we take the time to recognize what's not working for us, what our preference, what we don't prefer, the rebirth is about moving in the direction of what we do prefer. And that can happen so beautifully once you clear out and dissolve your stories, your beliefs based in fear, negativity, lack, and limitation. That is the message that Bat Spirit brings to us today. All right, I'm done. That's what I wanted to share. Thank you so much for tuning in, for listening, for watching. Again, I have deep love and appreciation and gratitude for each and every one of you. Please know yourself.